Hi, Tony VERA, Venice, California. The late Mr. Animations, one of his best friends, Jacob Jones, says goodbye in this video. He spent a lot of time with animation, and they got real close. And he leaves his feelings behind in this video. Here's the video.
So you knew animation well.
Yeah, animation was my mentor for many years. I met him when I was 13, but I was still working with Calypso Tumblers at the time. And then when I was 16, he took me under his wing. And the same day he decided to do that, we went to a dance studio. We rehearsed for about 3 hours, and then for the next 5 years we were in the studio almost every night, and he was mentoring me and teaching me the techniques of his style of popping, but we were also very close friends as well.
So the day before he died, you talked to him?
Yeah, I spoke to him every week. He lived in LA, and then a year and a half before he passed, he moved to Vegas to live with his sister. And at the times he was starting to break out and doing more busker festivals, so he's doing a lot in Arizona, and so Vegas was just an easier commute for him. And he was living at his sister's in Vegas, and so for that year and a half, we saw each other a couple of times when he came back to LA. But yeah, we would talk on the phone every week for hours. He was a very strong mentor to me. He gave me a lot of advice and support in what I was doing, and it was a very mutual relationship. Yeah.
So you said he was in an accident before the fatal accident?
Yeah. While he was still in LA, he lived in his car. He slept out of his car, and he had a Navigator, and that car kind of died, so he had a new car, and he got in an accident, and he totaled the car, so he wasn't able to sleep in his car anymore. That's a big reason why he went to Vegas. And then, so yeah, he was in a pretty bad accident here in LA before he went to Vegas.
Because me and him, like back in the day, I was a drunk. I would drink beer,
yeah,
a lot of hard liquor, a lot of weed.
Yeah.
And he was in and out of being sober, clean and sober.
Yeah.
Like right now, I went 18 years being sober. Then I went back. Now I'm 4.5 months. Do you think he was using it again?
All I have to say about him is that my relationship with him was very, I can only judge it from what I was able to see with him. Every time he was around me, he would talk a lot about using and about going to meetings. I drove him to a few, and he was very disciplined, and he really didn't like that he used. I'm not sure if he did when he wasn't around me,
right.
But I do know that when he was around me, he made it a goal, and that was something that I really helped him with. We spoke a lot about it and addiction, and he didn't use when he was around me. I also want to acknowledge too that he had a really big heart. He was very misunderstood from what I felt in the arts community. I wouldn't say so much in his family. I learned a lot about his family when he was in Vegas, but in the dance industry, he felt very misunderstood just because of how passionate he was.
Yeah.
He was very, very passionate, but he had the biggest heart. He genuinely cared about so many dancers, and giving what he learned to the next generation. He did it with me. He did it with a multitude of really big dance artists now. And if it weren't for his advice and his mentorship and guidance, a lot of people wouldn't be where they are. And it was because he encouraged people to do that. We'd be in battle circles, and he'd pull you into the circle and give you that confidence when you didn't have it. And he was just a genuinely sweet guy. He never started like conflict that was inauthentic. He did actually get into conflict with somebody because that person lied to him very badly, and that was around the same time him and I started hanging out together. Like very intimately, we were hanging out a lot with each other, and he told me, he said, just never lie to me because of the incident that happened with somebody else. And that advice helped my relationship with him a lot. But at the same time, I started dating my girlfriend now, who I've been with for 6 years, and I told her the same thing. I said, just don't lie to me and don't play games with me. And I've kind of taken that advice into all my relationships, and because of it, I have a very strong relationship with the people that I fostered that are close to me, because he taught me not to lie, to just be honest, and that's a really great way I'd love for him to be remembered, was his work ethic. He wasn't working for anybody. He was self-employed. He was a street performer, as are you, Tony, and Uba, and a lot of the other people out here, but he came out here every day, and it wasn't because he wasn't lazy at all. He had one of the strongest work ethics of anybody I know as well, and that's really cool and admirable.
And the best part about him, he never died, because there's tapes of him online, and he's a legend.
I went through, I made it very important to do some projects with him, some film projects. I still have a lot of footage of him. One of the pieces that kind of went around about him, there's like this piece at sunset with him looking into the sun. That's footage that I gave to him, that I shot of him, but I shot this whole film of him on a rooftop. But I thought about it after like right when I found out he passed away. I was kind of frustrated, because I was like, if only I'd spent more time with him in the studio, I would have been so much better at my craft. But then I kind of thought about it too, is like, I don't regret the time that I spent with him that wasn't in the studio, because he really did. It's not just his dance style, but it's his character, and it's who he was that will be instilled in me and in so many people. Yeah, he'll be remembered for as long as I'm around. I'll continue passing along his message, and everybody that I teach and the people that they teach to the next generation, those same things will still be instilled in so many people through what he instilled in me and so many others.
What's your best moment with animation?
I have so many.
Yeah.
I remember one, there was a few. One, we went to the studio one night and he was really hard on me. We were having a really good time. He'd always be really disciplined in the studio, and then afterwards, like really funny and a goofball. And afterwards, it was really late. It wasn't late, it was 9 or 10. And he's like, hey, it's my birthday today. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean it's your birthday? What are you doing to celebrate? He's, oh, I never celebrate on my birthday. I've never really done anything. And I just made a little bit of money at the time, so I took him next door to this really, really nice steakhouse, and I bought him a steak, like a really nice steak, and him and I just fucking had steaks. He's like, man, I ain't never had a steak like this before, and we just fucking had a really, it meant a lot to him, like not because of the money, not because of the food or anything, but just that someone like wanted to acknowledge him in that regard. Yeah. There was another one too, he was doing a street show, and yeah, he's just, there's so many fucking memories I have of that man. There's so many memories that it'll be his smile for sure, and him just always saying, for once, it's all about positive energy. Yeah. Like that's what he wanted everyone to look at. Like it was all about positive energy. That's all he cared about.
Well, you're great. Can you please describe your name, please?
Yeah, Jacob Jonas. I'm a dance choreographer now. I have a dance company here in Los Angeles called Jacob Jonas the Company. And a lot of why I'm doing what I'm doing is because of Mr. Animation.
Well, thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. And thank you, Tony, the guy holding this camera. He's a legend here in Venice Beach. Street theater is something in the arts that isn't recognized enough. It's called street performing, but in my eyes, it's street theater. When people go and see a show, they pay for a ticket, they sit down and they watch the show regardless of not if they like it. With street theater, you have to build a crowd and you have to wait to get the money at the end. Meaning what you do in that show has to be so entertaining and explosive. And I have a lot of admiration for the man holding this camera. He's an incredible artist. I hope he doesn't forget it, although it caused him a lot of injuries. But he's an incredible artist who's inspired me a lot too. So,
well, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.